Green for the first time all day long. Ryan Newman will take 4 tires that are going to go down. 1 round on the track bar. Also a half pound out of both rear tires to help the forward bike. Kurt Busch will be your winner off pit road, Adam.
Kurt Busch taking 2 tires, Marty. Brian Vickers also gets 2. Joey Logano, pair of tires. He's up 5 spots. Brad Keselowski bringing out our 4th caution of the day. Back in Loudon, New Hampshire. Under caution for the 4th time today. 147 of 301 laps complete. And now we take a look at teams that have spent the least amount of time on pit road today. Brought to you by AT&T. Mark Martin. His crew getting it done. Text the car number for the pit crew you think will average the least amount of time on pit road in today's race to 234-567. Wave arounds under this caution. Jimmy Johnson, Jamie McMurray, and Kevin Harvick, the notables that go back on the lead lap, and when we restart they will be 30th, 31st, and 32nd in the running order. Kurt Busch, Brian Vickers, Joey Logano, David Rudiman, and Juan Pablo Montoya, the top 5 in the race off pit road as we gear up for the restart. Jeff Gordon was leading this race when the caution came out. He restarts in the 10th position. Stewart and Newman have been players all day long. The 4 tire changes put the Stewart-Haas teammates back in 14th and 16th respectively as we get set to go back under the green flag. And when we do so, we will complete lap 149, just about halfway in race 19 for the Sprint Cup Series here in 2011. Kurt Busch, great restart. Jumps out in front of Brian Vickers. David Rudiman hops into line behind him. How about Carl Edwards? Haven't talked about him today. He's up to 5th now. Actually 4th in front of Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, Carl's car was not good at the beginning of the race. I'm not sure where he's at this point, but they were really struggling.
Carl had engine problems yesterday in nationwide competition here at New Hampshire. Exited early, but it would appear they've got their act together here this afternoon, Marty.
I would say they're going back towards the front. A close call on pit road with his teammate Matt Kenseth. They made a little contact. Didn't damage the 99 car, but Carl took 2 tires on this most recent stop. The car has been loose for most of the early runs, and you heard him a moment ago on the radio say loose once again to Bob Osborne. But remember, an experimental setup today for Edwards, so they're hoping to see some fruit from that this afternoon, Adam.
I'd like to go down to Larry and have Larry explain a little bit when we're talking about melting these beads on these tires, because you know we take for granted everyone knows what we're talking about. But Larry, can you show us what exactly is happening to cause these tires to blow?
Yeah, I mean, Wally, they run such a big brake package here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and you use so much brakes. And the heat is generated right out of the rotor and the caliper area into the wheel itself, which is connected to the tire. As you can see, some teams are running some shields here to try to keep that heat off the wheel, but it's so close. Now, right here, I want to show you the bead of the tire. This is where the bead, this is where it actually seals to the rim. All of that brake heat gets transferred to the wheel itself, and then pretty much it just melts that bead and the tire goes down. A lot of teams are using these blowers to blow air there. That's one of the dilemmas at the 24 and the 5. They don't want to cut these blowers off because they don't want to melt the bleed. But one thing, Wally and Kyle, you know this, a bad handling car is going to use a lot more brake and be more on track of burning this bead and cooking this bead.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was going to mention that, Larry. When your car's not handling, you use more brake to get the car to set. And that's what really heats it up. And the 24, something happened coming up before, and I wonder if he just lost all power in that car, Matt.
Absolutely, Wally lost all power. Said nothing as far as volts. He switched to the backup battery. The engine has refired. Everyone here in the pit getting ready for the next plan of attack on what to do for Gordon.
Well, I was a little bit, I mentioned to you guys under the caution when we were in commercial break. I was a little bit surprised that 24 didn't go ahead and get that battery changed.
He was running 11th.
Well, they had the time, you know, under caution.
When he lost power, now he's 35th. Last car on the lead lap, as you see Carl Edwards continue his climb to the top inside of David Rudiman. Driver 99 up to 3rd. Right behind him, Jeff Burton getting aggressive. He drives inside of Juan Pablo Montoya for position. And how about David Reagan? First career win 2 weeks ago at Daytona. Huge emotion, and rightfully so. Then he goes out, finishes top 10 at Kentucky, and here he comes to a track where he's always struggling and doing a great job. He goes underneath Montoya trying to get the 6th position.
Little confidence goes a long way when it comes to race car driving. And Reagan's run pretty good a lot this year. I mean, these guys just have never been able to put it together. Obviously, Daytona they did, and these guys have been on a roll since.
And you can't overemphasize what this means in regard to the championship, Kyle. They're the only team entering today's race 11th to 20th in the standings with a victory, entering 15th in points. That's incredible.
Yeah, but just as David said after Daytona, he said, I truly believe it's going to take 2 wins. I'm not sure we're going to get there on points. We need another win. But they, just as Wally said, that confidence from Daytona will carry them for multiple races. And as long as they keep running like this, they'll keep building on that confidence.
On the other side of the coin, Brad Keselowski, a win at Kansas, but outside the top 20 in points, and another big hit today, Chris.
Yeah, but just outside the top 20 in points, and Brad Keselowski already outside the 2-car here, Brad. Lots of damage on the right side. You were so quick early on, but then the car faded. Was that the reason why the car got in the wall?
Yeah, we just didn't have very good long run speed, and the car started to push really bad. And when you push really bad, it puts a lot of heat in the right front tire, and probably what caused it to blow out. But it's disappointing. I felt like we had really good short run speed, like I said, and just weren't able to make the most of our car today. So we'll have to go back, work on it some more. We've been running really good as of late, so hopefully this doesn't hurt our momentum, but we just got to keep plugging away and not let this hold us back. Team Penske's been working really hard, and you see even the 22 guys over here helping. So proud to have a good team. We'll just have to keep working on our cars.
Well, hopefully they can recover before the chase.
And Chris, he's now 28 points outside the top 20 as Brad Keselowski, and you'd hate to see that win at Kansas go for naught. Out front, teammate Kurt Busch, smooth sailing for him. His advantage over second place Brian Vickers, 0.4 of a second, 160 laps complete here at New Hampshire. Under caution at New Hampshire, fluid on the track. That brings out the yellow flag for the 5th time today. And now we get our KFC trivia quiz for today's race here in New Hampshire. Who holds the record for most and fewest laps led by a winner here in New England? We'll give the answer later on. Some drivers did pit under this caution. Kevin Harvick, Juan Pablo Montoya, who was running inside the top 10. Jimmy Johnson made a stop. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jamie McMurray, and Jeff Gordon also on pit road.
He just went a lap down. But that's a good call.
And he's the only car 1 lap down, which is huge.
The only car 1 lap down. We've seen it work with Jimmy and some of these other guys. You see him tossing the battery over there. That's a good call. Go ahead and take it now, right at the halfway point of the race.
Jeff Gordon in 34th, but that fresh battery may be the difference later today. Kurt Busch continues to lead. Back in a moment.
NASCAR Sprint Cup racing from New Hampshire International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by Progressive, making it easy to buy car insurance. By Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. And introducing Valvoline Next Gen, 50% recycled oil, 100% Valvoline protection. And by Toyota.
Kyle Busch in the What a Difference a Week category. And What a Difference a Week makes category. Last week winning at Kentucky, here all over the place. Getting beat up a little bit by Jimmy Johnson. Contact with Dale Earnhardt Jr. He would eventually pop a tire and drill the wall. It's been 76 laps in the garage area. Yeah, now on pit road, 75 laps down.
He hit everything you could hit today, including pit lane too fast.
Too fast. But he did make up a lap. He was the lucky dog. Now he's only 74. No, he's back to 75. He did make up a lap, though.
He's in 37th position and has dropped to 4th in the standings. Larry?
Well, I'm looking at some notable drivers that pitted under this caution at lap 162. In particular, Juan Pablo Montoya, Jimmy Johnson, and actually Kevin Harvick, who did fuel only. If they can go 70 laps on fuel, those drivers can make this race on one more stop, pitting somewhere between lap 230 and 235. Everyone else, they're going to have to make 2 more stops. So I think the strategy has started is we're well past the halfway point.
And those drivers that pitted, Larry, Harvick being the first of those, he's 23rd in the running order, and Jeff Gordon comes back down pit road. He is a lap down, but they're going to top off his machine, and that could pay dividends if we get a long green flag run here. Of course, what the 24 really wants is a quick caution to put himself right back on the lead lap. So we'll go back green as we complete lap 168 of 301. Kurt Busch and Brian Vickers on the front row. They are 1-2. Carl Edwards, Jeff Burton, David Rudiman make up the top 5. David Reagan, Joey Logano, Mark Martin, Casey Kane, and Ryan Newman, your top 10. Newman has led more laps than anyone today, 47. He's been out front.
Green.
Green flag back in the air at New Hampshire.
Better get that caution because Gordon got a half a lap back when they took the green flag.
Kurt Busch able to sneak in front of Brian Vickers. And there's David Rudiman working to the inside of David Reagan. Hey, Carl Edwards, got to give some credit to that team. Struggled yesterday in practice, started 15th today, dropped outside the top 20, and here he is going for the runner-up position.
But I think they dropped outside the top 20 because of tire strategy. And you see, got down in there, the car got a little free, got a little loose, and he bounces off the side of the 83. We've seen that multiple times today. But I think Carl and those guys lost their track position because they were one of the first teams to go to the 4-tire strategy. Back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, there have been a lot of guys that moved up and down the leaderboard today, and it's been very misleading because of what Kyle just documented. Varying strategies. He's not quitting on the 83 of Brian Vickers. And David Reagan feeling a little bit aggressive behind Jeff Burton as well. This from 2nd to 5th. And we got trouble. Denny Hamlin goes around, former New Hampshire winner. 6th caution of the day, and Andy Lally also spinning behind.
Don't know what happened with the 11th. Andy's rear bumper's messed up.
Back there. Yeah, 78 went on the apron, got into it.
Hamlin was running 17th.
The 40s or the back damage.
You see Andy's bumper flopping in the breeze right there. I'm not so sure somebody didn't get into Andy and spin him after the fact, and he just spun around and gets into the 11.
It's Hamlin racing with Martin Truex Jr.
Looks like the 42 got in the 43 and the 43 got in the 11.
Yeah, that was just an accordion. I mean, they all got in there, and I think the 11 kind of checked up a little bit to stay off the car in front of him. And as he tries to check up to stay off the car in front of him, they all just bottleneck right there. And I don't think anybody had any place to go. You see the 42 right here. Boom, the 42 hits the 43 that gets in there.
Inside corner, spin, stay high, stay in it, inside.
And who's happy to see this caution?
24 is very happy.
Yes.
Jeff Gordon back on the lead lap. 6th caution of the day. 172 laps complete, and Kurt Busch is your race leader. We have cleaned up our 6th caution of the day. Getting set to go back under green. Kurt Busch, Brian Vickers on the front row as we put the green flag back in the air here at New Hampshire.
The 3 wide doesn't work a lot here.
No. No, and I'm going to tell you what, we have seen Ryan Newman get some restarts. We saw him on a restart last week at Kentucky. I want to document that Jeff Gordon is 33rd.